Hey everyone, we're your hosts, Chelsea
and Robin.
And this is Don't Mind If We Do.
Finally, a relatable podcast for women where we can talk about whatever we want.
Don't mind if we do.
I'm gonna wanna get crazy. Be anything but behaving like you do. Make you. Oh, don't mind if we do.
We're back on Don't Mind If We Do. I'm excited for this episode.
I'm
I got all
super
dolled
excited.
up. I feel like, I
look
don't know
so
if you
great.
noticed. Yeah, you and I are going on a date today.
Yay. Is it our love day today?
yeah,
Back
I think-
from our date night episode?
I don't know. I dressed up for like a first date.
Okay.
How do I look? I'm wearing what I always wear.
Well, your
which is-
socks match, which
Yeah.
is good. Mine usually do not on a first date.
Really?
So, no,
Is that
never.
that's your go-to signature
That's my
move?
lucky charm. Works every time.
Does it?
Well,
Do they see your socks on a first date?
oh no, it's my lucky secret charm.
But we should talk about this because Chelsea Smith, you have now been fairly successful, I would say, in your last sort of online dating moves. Can I say that?
My mismatched sock moves,
Yeah.
maybe. Yes, it's been working pretty good. Don't want to jinx it, but yeah. I wasn't on all the dating apps, but I was on Bumble and have recently met somebody who seems quite amazing.
Yay.
Just say that.
I'm super excited for you.
Thank you. I'm super
Does he
excited
have any
too.
single friends?
Right? I'm going to ask him.
Okay. Why
and
haven't you
we're
already?
going to set it up. I actually feel like I have. So he might be
so he's just
thinking of
avoiding
it.
the question.
No,
Obviously, he's heard
thinking
this podcast and he's like, ooh, that other one. I don't know.
No, he's working on it. I tell everybody. They're all working on it for you. Yeah, we will. Maybe he has a brother. I'll ask.
Okay. I feel you'd know that by
I
now.
do, and he doesn't. But maybe it's one I don't know about. You never know.
I'm super excited though because there are obviously other ways to meet people, and you know, in nowadays, I feel like it's mostly online, but
Yep.
matchmakers still exist. And I
Which is
remember
crazy.
watching
I love
episode after episode of Patty Stanger and Millionaire Matchmaker, and always thinking, if only I had $1 million, I could hire Patty Stanger.
You don't? You don't have $1 million?
I know, it's so strange. You
Yeah,
think radio would pay more, but
you
it
would
doesn't.
think. That's
But,
weird. You'd think the podcast would pay more.
But yeah,
it doesn't.
it's interesting because I had a chance to meet Patty actually 1 year at the Victoria Women's Expo.
She's a matchmaker?
She is a matchmaker.
Okay.
She hosted a show on I'm not sure the Women's Network for many years.
Fun.
And one of the things that she said when she met me, because we had a chance to chat for a little bit, and the one thing that she had said to me is that she said, "Robin, you need to grow your hair out."
Oh,
Yeah. So she had said at the time, and you know me now, my hair is shorter than it's ever been.
yeah,
just
it's
so
like a
that's
mullet.
clear.
Is it still a mullet?
Yeah, it's still a bit of a mullet.
Yeah.
So yeah, I did take her advice at the time, though. I did grow my hair out. I don't feel like that made a huge difference.
You didn't get married?
I didn't. Well, you know me, so no.
I have seen those pictures, though. You did look really lovely.
Yeah,
You do know,
so-
too, but the hair was nice.
Okay, so I don't know. Do you think that's a thing? Do you think
I
maybe
don't.
that could be a thing? Yeah.
If I don't know, that's hard to say. If someone doesn't like you because you have short hair, that's weird. I don't think that it's going to last
It could be
forever.
a preference, though, right?
A
That's
preference for sure.
Yeah.
I think short hair is definitely like it's not for everyone, but it's for you, and that's all that matters. So the person that will like it is because they like you.
Well, I haven't found that person online yet. So today we're actually going to be meeting a matchmaker who
Oh,
hopefully
so
is
fun.
going to help us with
Yeah,
this, right?
hopefully she is going to not tell you to grow your hair out. It'd be kind of funny if she did, though, today. But yes, hopefully she's going to have some good tips and find you here forever, man.
Don't mind if we do get some dating advice on the podcast this week. Jane Carstens is a professional matchmaker. She's the owner and founder of Matchmaker for Hire out of Vancouver, but she also works with singles here on Vancouver Island. Thank God. If you watched,
Thanks for you.
right?
For you.
If you watch The Real Housewives of Vancouver, Jane is the matchmaker behind Mary Zilba and Brett Wilson from Dragon's Den getting together. She has matched some of the highest profile celebrities in the country. Jane, of course, we wanted to have you on the podcast. Thank you so much for being here. And thanks for all your help in advance.
Oh, well, thank you.
Thanks for what you're going to do for Robin.
Yeah. Oh, okay.
Oh, we forgot to tell you that.
There's a part 2 to this interview, I take it, right?
Yeah, surprise. Okay.
Okay.
Jane, let's start out though. Tell us a little bit about how you got involved in this line of work. Like what excited you about it and how did you decide, hey, I'm going to be amazing at matchmaking?
Yeah. Well, I guess 20 years ago, I met the moment. It's like, I can't believe it's 20 years, but I didn't have a knack. Yeah, everyone says, did you have a knack? No, I did not have a knack for matching people. I just kind of came across it. I had a career in the business world. I was working with PricewaterhouseCoopers, and 9/11 hit, and we lost 5 employees in the planes. And it made me take a step back and go, wow, I don't even really like this job. I forget it. And a friend of mine had a dating service and in Toronto, and she said, you'd be really good at this in Vancouver. And next thing you know, there you go. I'm out on a plane and starting from scratch and helping people find love. And, I never tire to talk about it with anyone. I mean, it's a combination of many things that drives me. My own personal relationship connections, losses, knowing everyone wants love, but not everyone can easily find it.
It's true.
Yeah,
Is
it's
it
true.
such a fun job? It must be such a fun thing.
It's, the thing is, I'm always working. I'm out at an event, not working. And it's like, oh, you're a matchmaker? I mean, I was even get my lashes done yesterday and, oh, you're a matchmaker. Then boom, I'm working, right? Like I never seem to be off, right? Everybody's
Probably
got
not
a story.
hard to find work.
But it's okay.
Absolutely.
It's great. It's really inspiring to me that people really still do want to seek out love, which is amazing.
Well, I think to be honest, I mean, it's something that we're always searching for, right? I'll be completely honest with both of you. I have spent, I want to say the better part of my life single. I've been in relationships, obviously. I've had long-term relationships, but for the most part, and I always feel like it's the one elusive thing. I feel like, and I don't know, Jane, maybe some of your clients feel this way too, but you can be successful and a kind person and a good person and have all what you feel like, have all your ducks in a row. But for whatever reason, love is the one thing that for me anyway, it eludes me. And I'm wondering, I'm curious if you feel like there's a lot of professional single people out there that are really just kind of floating around and waiting to see if the one is going to show up.
I did, and I'm right here, Robin.
Yeah, I think I mean, my gosh, 56% of the population is single in Victoria.
Wow.
What? I have to leave this interview and go find someone right now.
Get outside.
Yeah.
She'll give you tips later on how to find them, hopefully.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. I got lots of those for you guys. But I think that everybody struggles, right? And everybody's got a story. I mean, there's really no secret in finding the right partner. I mean, I do it every day, right? For my clients, right? Persistence, patience, the ability to be clear, to narrow the search. I'm sure you probably said, yeah, I've done that already, right? But maybe for you, it's the pool. Maybe it's okay. I got to expand. I got to go to Vancouver. I got to geographically, expand my radius. I've got to, try something different.
Yeah, no, that makes sense. Jane, how would you say dating has changed the most? Over 20 years that you've been doing this, how have things evolved?
Big time evolved. I actually had a discussion with somebody about this yesterday.
Because when I was growing up, we would never meet somebody online, right? We would always meet somebody in real life, like in person, in university or college, that kind of thing.
Exactly.
There was no online. And now, in my 40s, here I am online, not even knowing if I'm doing things properly.
Well, yeah.
Swiping.
20 years ago when I started matchmaking, I mean, there was no online dating. There was very, very little, right? So it was like, okay, how do you, exactly what you're saying, connect with people at school, at church, through your friends, you're relying on your friends to be your matchmaker, right? So, and matchmaking is a centuries old profession. So in many religions, there are yentas and I forget the other one, I forget what they're called, but that you go to the head of your religion and they help you matchmake, right? Based on family criteria. So when you think about it, when we want to buy a house and we want to buy a car, all those things, we sit and put together a game plan. We hire someone to help us to weed through, figure it out, and, connect with somebody. But back then, 20 years ago, it's evolved. I mean, my goodness, I used to run newspaper ads in the actual Times Colonist. I still do
wanted
actually
ads.
from time to time. But now. And then if I wanted to connect somebody, I would send it in the mail. I mean, I'm really aging myself right now, but because the internet really hasn't evolved over, the last 15 years, really. Now it's totally so fast paced, so much choice, so much. It's more entertainment. Like online sites have become the Netflix of dating. It's just purely entertainment.
It is quite entertaining sometimes.
Yeah.
But when you're really serious and you want to meet somebody, it's not about entertainment. It's about getting down to business, right? So
exactly. And that's what makes it tricky, I think, right? Like that's because it's not only evolved online, but now plus on top of that, recently we've had a global pandemic.
yeah, we have. But good news is, because it's no surprise that love is on the top of every single's mind. A lot of people are lonelier than ever, than they were before the pandemic. It's given people a lot of time to think about things, reflect on their life, what they want. And when the pandemic is starting, phase one, people are starting to go, okay, let's go, right? So I have seen, which is really encouraging for me, it really has inspired me that even just 6 weeks into lockdown, or probably 5 weeks, singles were eager to get back out there. And more men, believe it or not, reached out to me because they're working from home and they can't go out and they're like, oh God, and they don't want to go online. The clients that typically I work with, they've got a lot of reasons that they want to remain anonymous. They don't want their personal information out there. We were making plans for people to go for coffees and walks or outdoor patio drinks. And we have had several relationships bloom through restrictions. And if they had a way to just think, right? So, but I've noticed a couple things. Things have changed for singles in the fact that they've been more open to find friendship. Even if they have before were very intent on finding a romantic partner, they're shifting a bit. Like, okay, I'm not putting so much pressure on it. And they're thinking about their feelings. They're not as shy or resident they used to be to talk about their loneliness. And that's really healthy, right? So I'm really happy when people call in and it shows that they're really taking charge of their life. And when I ask my clients or anyone who calls me what's on the top of their wish list for a partner, their priorities have really changed. So I think that this differentiates matchmaking versus online, right? Online can be, I've seen so many things. It's like being in a Jane Austen novel, oh my God, right? So yeah, now the restrictions are off. I honestly am busy. And I work with clients spanning across Western Canada. So Calgary, Vancouver, Victoria. My office is in Vancouver, but I'm over in Victoria every week seeing clients. And I offer a refreshing, old-fashioned, in-person, traditional way for singles, local singles, to meet. And that's what we really want to meet, is someone local, right?
Sure.
Apps offer casual encounters where there's a ton of misrepresentation, profiles. My goodness, when a new client signs up, I meet them in their homes. I actually, social distance meeting I've been doing for the time being. I've had a lot of park meetings and things like that. But now, it lasts about an hour, during which I get to know them as I would a friend. Try to find out what it is that they're looking for in a partner. And my goal is to really build a pool of clients that I can match from, both for friendship and long-term companionship and possible marriage. So, I used the real estate analogy before. When you want to buy a house, you don't want to see all the houses for sale. You just want to go to the ones that fit. And I can pre-screen, pre-qualify, and get to know someone. Like, my credibility is on the line, right? When I introduce someone. I have a new client that I'm working with here in Vancouver. And he said, oh my God, Jen, this is fantastic. Like, I know you've met this person. I know you've asked all those difficult questions. I don't even have to ask them, right? When it comes to even on a first date, it made it a whole heck of a lot easier because I go on the first date with everybody, right? Kinda, sorta.
You get it out of the way first.
I get it out of the way. And a lot of the, for this guy, he's fantastic. And a lot of girls that I have working with for him, that's the ad you've probably seen in my social. I think, Robin, that we kind of connected. They like the fact that, okay, it's like, I feel comfortable contacting Jane. She's not she's the middle person. She can tell me, and she's not going to lie to me, and she's not going to waste my time, right? I don't want to waste anybody's time. What's the point in that, right?
Yeah, how does it work then? Explain how it works, because either you can be the main client or you can be part of a pool, right? So there's a couple of options of how you can help people as a matchmaker.
Correct. So I have a couple different membership options. So I have a 6-month membership, a 12-month membership, and a more VIP service where I actually go out and scout and meet potential matches on my client's behalf. So I always go to my paid membership first. And if I just don't have the right match, then I can go outside the box and promote a client. Of course, I don't share personal information, but I give enough that I get a good response from clients. And so I have what I call my Matchmaker verified database. So I have people that I have verified. I've met them. I've talked to them. I know what they're looking for. So you're on my list. I'm not going to forget about you. So in case I'm working with another client, at least you're top of mind, right? Because I only match people who I've met. So I have the paid membership level. I have the verified database where you can simply just be in the database. So I don't charge for that. And I also just recently launched a new offer that, because over COVID, I had found I had so many people that were making mistakes and not sure where to go and not clear on what they need to do and looking for just basic tips. So I've just recently offered, and for some people who just don't want to sign up for the full matchmaking process, right? They kind of just need a little help, because I really do feel that you can be your own matchmaker with a little help and a few tips, right? So, and it's
Awesome.
called,
Give us some tips, Jane.
Yeah,
Give me
get
the
the tips out. We need the tips.
yeah, so it's kind of like a little coaching. I call it Matchmaker on Demand. So it's kind of coaching, helping, and so I do that as well.
Does that mean I get to call you at 3 a.m. and be like, Jane, I have this burning question and I know you're on demand. So
Yeah, you can.
She just won't answer.
She won't answer. That's fine.
You know what?
Yeah.
Through COVID, I had so many people calling me, and I was talking to so many people, and they just weren't really. They were intimidated by the matchmaking, and so I thought, this is nuts. Why should these people? I mean, I could spend some time with them and help them, right? Like, I know I've done this 20 years. I know really what's possible, what's not possible, how to get some results, even little things like, people said, oh, my picker's broken. I picked the wrong guys, or I'm the queen of the first dates, never seem to get a second date. Or some people need some help with their profiles, just photos. Photos are so important when it comes to presenting yourself out there in the dating world, right? In any world, right? In any social media, really, you've got to be mindful of that.
What's the number one mistake people make on a first date?
Yeah, first date mistakes.
Or is there just too many you can do?
Well, it's really hard because it's nerve-wracking for the most part. Some people have never been on a date in 30 years, right? They don't really know what to do. And the worst thing is to be in an interview type setting. Sitting across at a coffee shop is not the first date. Talking about exes, no, don't talk about that. No. Politics, absolutely not. COVID, no, let's not talk about that either, right? Love requires attention. You got to be present. You've got to be in the moment. You got to say goodbye to expectations, because someone can sense if you're not present. If you're in your mind sitting there thinking, okay, does he look like my baby daddy? Is he, is his hair funny? Forget it, right? You're overthinking. Be present, be respectful. That person's actually carved an hour of their time to meet you. Now, all the dates that I set up for first dates are pre-screened, pre-qualified. You've seen photos, you know more information about them. So you don't have to do that interview type first date, right? So, because it's nice to know what someone's religion is in advance, or if they do want to have children or not, right? That's the big question. I mean, that's the first.
Those core values, right? The core values.
Right. And I think for some girls, it's like, okay, well, I want a baby. Boom, right away. And the guy goes, whoa, okay, well.
Yeah.
Right? He probably does, but he doesn't want it like right now, right?
Yeah.
And that scares guys, makes them run. They go, oh God, the first thing came out is I want a baby. Well, yeah, okay, I already know that, right? Like, relax, right? So what happens, and guys don't think guys don't know that, guys that might be, and they're dating women later in their 30s or close to 40, they know, okay, they're in a rush to have a baby. And they might not be yet, right? It's just the dynamic on how you just sit. My tip, best first date, you just gotta I had one client, he went on a date and all he did was talk COVID trash talk. Oh, the city and the mayor and the blah, 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 blah. I mean, it was like, and it's like, well, okay, we all know that, but do we need to? I mean, seemed like, okay, well, this guy sounds like he doesn't even want to be living here anymore, right? Like, so yeah, you just got to pay attention, right?
What would you suggest as a first date? What's the best first date? Because if sitting across from somebody coffee interview style is terrible, what would you recommend? Like, I mean, especially with just coming out of COVID too, often, for me, I've been choosing doing walks with people or, something like that where we're outside, but we're not necessarily face to face to each other, so we can have a conversation, but there's options to sort of move around and have some space, right? Because you also you see how somebody carries themselves on a first date as well too, right?
Exactly. Well, so first dates, the process that I do for my clients is I set them up for a drink date. I say it's an hour, it's a drink, patio somewhere, casual setting, nothing too stuffy. It's always better outdoors. COVID, even though luck had it, COVID, we were more outdoors. That's the best way. People feel more comfortable than being closed in a small restaurant or a dark place, right? So it's casual. It's an hour. There's, the expectation there. And then if you want to see each other, or if you're having fun, you could stay. Some clients said, oh my God, we closed the restaurant. We had so much fun. Great. Or we went somewhere else after. Or you can have an opportunity to set up a second date. Coffee walk dates were really popular and still are for some, because there's a lot of people who aren't drinkers. So you have to be mindful of that, right? You don't want to put pressure on someone going to a place where one is, they're obviously okay with someone who's a drinker, but you don't want to start off on that foot. I had a couple go on a coffee walk date yesterday or was it yesterday? Yeah, it was raining and they both had their umbrellas and they said it was great. They walked for 2 hours and they talked and it was good connection, and that's a good thing. Second dates, now that's a whole different kind of story, right? So how do you get to that second date? Well, you immediately ask for it. That's really important. You ask for it immediately. Like I get people and okay, I'm not sure what she thought. Ask her. Like, you got her sitting there in front of, what do you think? Do you want to get together again? Like, why beat around the bush, right? And how to get that second date. There's no rules really, but I mean, to be really positive, make your date feel comfortable, right? You listen to someone. A lot of feedback I get from clients is, oh, he didn't really listen to anything I said. All he did was talk. He didn't ask me anything either, right? Or whatever. I also think that if you can find ways to connect. So things like that you might have in common. The couple I set up yesterday, they were both into dance, swing, ballroom, that kind of stuff. And so they had something in common, right? So, or couples that like hike because they have something in common. And I think a great second date is a sports date that if you're both baseball fans, well, hey, would you like to go catch a game of the Royals? Was it the Royals? I can't remember.
Yeah. Well done. Yeah. No, that's a great idea. Or Harbor Cats, right? We're going into baseball season. So
yeah. And that's a great place because you're both cheering for a team. You got beer, you're casual. There's not,
it's fun.
Right. So it's not great for a first date, but second date for sure. And so I always say on a second date, a way to connect through activity or something in common is the best way because it's just less stress, right?
Jane, what do you think about men paying on the first date? Because I'll be honest, I'm old-fashioned about this. If a guy doesn't pay, regardless of if it's just a coffee or a snack or whatever, I generally won't do a second date.
Well,
me neither.
I don't blame you. But here's an interesting fact. 2% of men expect to pay when on a first date.
2%?
Wow. Okay, well then there's my problem right there.
I'm sorry.
Your pool just got narrowed down by 2%.
I got narrowed down, Jane.
I got that backwards. Sorry. No. Men, I got that wrong. Sorry. It's early. No, actually, 95% of men expect to pay on a first date. In fact, 100% of the men on a first date through my clients. They do, right? In fact, I always say, where do you want to take her for a drink, right? A drink is easy. If you can't afford a $12 glass of wine, well, then forget it, right? However, women sometimes feel more likely to want to pick up the tab, especially when they're not feeling it or they don't want to be obligated and I don't know. I think it's only fair if you on a date and you're not feeling it and you know you're not going to see him again, then offer to pay your half. I don't think there's anything wrong with that.
Yeah, that's fair. What about sleeping with someone on a first date, Jane?
Why are you looking at me?
No reason?
Well, yeah, no, I would, no.
It's still a no. And it's interesting because I remember watching way back like Millionaire Matchmaker with Patty Stanger, and she would always say, she's like, you can never sleep with somebody on a first date. Never.
Shouldn't.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, it's like, why would you do that? I mean, it's like, it's keep them interested, right? Like, now I have had some instances where I've heard couples say, well, oopsie daisy, okay, too much. And why? Too much alcohol, right? So, so here's the thing. That's why you keep it to an hour. You keep it to a glass of wine. You don't get into an all-nighter because that just leads to bad decisions, right? Now, sexuality, that is becoming more and more open with people. Sex is not as big a thing for some people. Older people in my age range, 60 plus, well, that's a whole nother conversation. But I mean, sex is not as prudish as it used to be.
Yeah, it's not
and
as taboo,
sexuality,
no.
That's a big one. I mean, there's many different types of sexuality. That's important to know. There's bisexuality, poly, you name it, right? Those are kind of important things to know as well.
Poly is when somebody is interested in intellectual, regardless of.
Oh, sorry, polygamy.
gender or sex.
Polygamy.
Is
Polygamy.
Polygamy.
It's like you can have more
Poly.
than one partner.
Yeah,
Is
okay.
what that means.
Got it. Yeah.
And
So don't put on your profile.
I
I'm
don't think
poly.
that's on my profile. I'll double check. Okay.
That would take it off. if
yeah,
it is.
but you'd be surprised the number of people who are bisexual or polygamy, and that's totally fine. Your sexuality is yours to own, and that is totally okay. But you kind of want to know that going into it. And I've had a lot of guys come back to me and say some women that they've met, great, but she wants to invite her girlfriend over. And I don't know about that, So it would be nice to know that up front. And I do ask that question as part of the process that I do with my clients. Nothing bad. I ask a lot of other difficult questions as well. But I mean, that is one that's important for me to know, right?
It is
And the
important
interesting
to
thing
know.
about that is I've learned over the years, if somebody is into bisexuality, their requirements and what they're looking for in a partner, in a man and a woman, are completely different, which is kind of interesting because there's a different purpose for a different relationship, right? So
Jane, how important is attraction in the beginning? I mean, if you go on a couple of dates with somebody and you feel like you're not sure if you're 100% attracted to them physically, should you keep going out with them, or at what point do you make that call where you're like, you know what, if I can't see myself making out with you, this is not a romantic relationship?
well, if you, I always say to people, well, if you feel like you can't kiss him or her, then don't waste time, right? If you're not feeling it, you're not feeling it. Because at the end of the day, and if you're not sure, which some people aren't sure, right? If you're not sure, go on a second date. What's the big deal, right? It's no big deal. So a lot of people will, bait and go fast and not really think about it and look at the other good qualities first. It's the same scenario you see with people. All the girls are looking at the hot guy on the motorcycle over here, and they're missing all the really great guys walking down the street over here, right? You get sidetracked because of somebody's hot, when really that's not really so you got to get back to thinking, okay, what are my top priorities here, right?
Right. Like what's important to me.
What's important. And I think that's the key. If you start from that list first and then bring in the hotness or the attractiveness, because one will fit eventually. You will find it. You just got to go through the process, right?
I feel lucky that I was very attracted to my man. We won't mention his name, but very cute.
For
It
who
was
we
a
don't
pleasant
mention.
surprise. Yeah, we won't mention.
We
him
won't
yet,
mention.
What about recommendations for single parents who are dating, Jane? What's important for them to remember? Because again, a lot of people dating at this stage over the age of 30, right? We're now into a completely different cycle of life than we were before. And for a lot of people, they have children. Where does that fit in? How does that come up in those conversations?
Right. Well, studies have shown that female single parents find it easier than men. Guys find it harder to get back into the dating scene. Things like what to wear, who they should meet, whether you should, where to go, and I think that a lot of singles sometimes make the mistake that needing their kids' permission to date. You do not need your kids' permission to date, right? However, you should always care about your child's feelings, for sure. Studies have shown that recoupling after divorce has a positive influence, greater self-esteem. It decreases loneliness. It's, makes the family happier. Now, there are some do's and don'ts on that as well. I mean, you don't go to the restaurant where you and your ex went to, right?
You don't bring your kids on the first date.
Yeah. I did a blog on that a little while ago, and I posted a picture, and it was the funniest thing. And it shows a little kid going, "Mom, there's a man in the kitchen wearing your house coat."
Oh no.
Good.
Yeah.
Surprise.
Yeah. Whoopsie. Hi. But yeah, I think that's it. Being single as a parent. Plus, I think you need to meet another single parent. I really do. If you're, because the dynamics there, your number one priorities are your kids, where if someone does have kids and someone doesn't, it's hard. It's really hard. You get it when you're a parent, right? The priorities. It's nothing to do with another relationship. It's just your kid's top priority.
That is true.
Yeah, as it should be, for sure. I think it's hard, though, like for me, as a person who doesn't have children, I am completely open to dating men that have kids. But I don't know, you know what I mean? I don't know if maybe I'm looking in the wrong places there then too. But for me, I feel like finding men in my age range, over 40 that don't have children, like it doesn't exist. So, and it's rare, and it's not necessarily that's what I'm looking for. I would love to be a bonus parent again, or, have some kids in my life. But yeah, it didn't happen for me.
Well, the questions that come about with something like that is, which I would probably ask you is, what age range of kids are you open to? I mean, are you ready to jump in and be a mom? Are you ready to jump in, or you would rather have the kids to be teenage and grown and launched already?
If a teenager showed up, Jane, and wanted to move in here, that would be fine.
Would it
but
be?
yeah,
in this office?
Yeah.
I'm not necessarily, like, if I'm being truthful, I'm not necessarily looking at
for someone
somebody
younger,
with a young
right?
child.
Younger kids. Yeah. So you have to look at that and be really clear on the stage of life they are at as a parent as well, right?
Yeah.
So
nope, that makes sense.
And when I match parents together, I've noticed that single parents, geographic locations are really crucial. Like, they can't really travel too far from home, right? So you can't date someone like just long distance, or even in Victoria, like if you're in Langford to downtown, that's a big stretch for some people, right? Sometimes, right? Because you live downtown for a lifestyle and you live in Langford for a family lifestyle. So someone might not want to leave their condo turnkey downtown to go live in suburban, right? So there's a lot of little things that you got to ask yourself.
The Langford hood.
The Langford. Yeah, Langford dinner jacket. Wearing the Langford dinner jacket. Yeah. I love
would
that.
like to see that.
I want one. Yeah.
We'll get you one.
Yeah.
That can be our gift to you.
Yeah.
Don't mind if we do dinner
Right?
jacket.
Don't mind if we do get you a dinner jacket. Okay, that's all. Yeah. Because for most of us now, we're into our second or third time around dating and relationships, right? These aren't the first relationships, but I mean, you either learn from your mistakes, or you keep, like you said earlier, you keep making the same mistakes over and over again, right?
Right. Well,
It's kind of nice though being older, because then you know what you're okay with, what you're looking for, what you don't want.
Yep.
Versus being 20, where you kind of test it out and waste time.
Sometimes.
Sometimes.
It's a tricky thing. Like, you got to really sit and think about all the different things that come into play. And like, I mean, being second, third time around single, you want to connect. Everybody does just as much as you do. But without some help diving into the dating pool, without a coach or without someone you can run things by, almost ends up in disappointment, no matter what stage of life you're at. I think what happens the second time around, it's wrong to leave it to chance, right? I mean, destiny or chance. I mean, well, forget it. We can't leave things to chance. We have to take it into our own hands and create our own destiny and not be afraid. A lot of people are emerging out of their caves after 30 years.
Well, and like you said, they haven't dated in 30 years either, right? Like you forget these skills. These aren't skills that, that you would keep sharp if you've been in a relationship for 20 or 30 years.
And the dating landscape has changed dramatically since some people have been dating. Like, it's like, who pays? Where do you go? What do you wear? Like they're like, for some of my clients who are widowed, and I work with a lot of widowed clients in Victoria, they need some help. And, I think that don't move too fast, right? Because people want to move fast, right? And I think that not to be afraid, know that there is others like you out there that are going through the same issues. I mean, you got to go about it with common sense and be fully engaged and move forward with intent. And one of the biggest things I see in second and third time relationships, and sometimes people second, third time, long time relationships, is age, like date age appropriately. Okay, I'm young, 63. I meet all kinds of guys in their 60s, 65 that are older, retired, and want to stay home and garden, to 65-year-olds that are still working, want to have fun, not there yet. So sometimes you can find, if you're single and you're youthful, you tend to put your profile, you're 10 years younger, right? So you want to date a younger guy. And really, at the end of the day, it doesn't work. Or you get a 60-year-old guy who wants to date a 30-year-old girl. Well, yeah, no, wrong service, right? Like, but that's
Wrong
what's happening,
service.
right? People are taking, I say, stay in your lane, right? There is a lane that makes sense for you. And that's what's happening. 60-year-old guys are taking the 30-year-old girls from the 30-year-old guys, right? So it just doesn't, at the end of the day, it just mixes it all up. So I think you just need to really think it through. And I mean, things like same music. I mean, my goodness, if I dated a guy that was 50, he would think disco music, what? Like, he wouldn't even get it, right? So it's just things like that, or stage of life. Like, I'm going to be ready to retire in 5 years. Maybe, I don't know, but right. And he's not, right? So, or vice versa. We've got someone who has retired, has got all the time in the world and wants to travel spontaneously. Well, I can. You just have to think all those age appropriate, lifestyle appropriate, all those things.
Jane, for everyone that's out there listening today, for the single ladies that are listening and single men, if we've got men listeners as well, and they are interested in using your services, how do they get a hold of you? How do they find you?
You can go to my website, matchmakerforhire.com. I'm on
We'll also put it in the link.
Instagram, Facebook, LinkedIn. You can email me directly. I love email. Jane at matchmakerforhire.com. Or you can call me. I love the phone. 778-552-3350.
Awesome.
Jane, thanks so much for joining us. Your final words on, if you are single and you're out there and you're searching and you're trying, I feel I am. I know a lot of other single women that are as well. What is your key tip to not get down about this stuff? Because it's really easy, I think, to get down on yourself when it's not working out time after time.
Well, I think just actually trying to understanding and knowing that there's so many more single people out there than you think that are in the same boat. So don't get so down about it that you're not the only one, because a lot of people think I'm the only one, right? And I think that you need to be really open-minded and know there are single people out there, men and women, looking for love, really wanting to find someone with similar relationship goals. And I think you just have to remain positive. You have to, stay focused, be persistent, be patient, and the ability to be clear, be more precise on narrowing the search. But and a little work and a little knowledge, you can do it on your own, or you can hire a matchmaker.
I think we know one.
Yeah, I think you know what?
Hey, Robin, I think you should talk with Jane, the matchmaker, for hire.
Jane, I need to hire you to find me. Put me in your pool, Jane.
Oh,
Put me in your pool.
Robin needs to find love,
I
and we
would
won't
love
talk
to
about it
help
on
you
the
out.
podcast.
I would love
That could be fun, and we could maybe we could follow it here on the podcast.
Yes.
that would be a
fun.
great
Be fun.
idea.
Oh, and then your wedding can be on the podcast. We'll do it live. That would be so cute.
So long as we can be your bridesmaids, right?
That's right. Yeah, of course.
I get
Oh my
invited
gosh.
to a lot of weddings.
I
bet,
That's
yeah.
awesome.
The only thing is I get seated at the singles table. So I'm always working. I'm always working. Right?
Oh my god!
At Robin's wedding, she'll seat you at her table, at the head table.
The head table.
So it'll be
Beside
fun.
me, not the groom won't even be there. Okay, it'll just be you and me, Jane.
Good.
Jane Carstens, matchmakerforhire.com. Thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you so
and
much.
yeah, that was awesome. Great tips.
That
My
was fun.
pleasure. Thank you.
Next week on Don't Mind If We Do, she's the fastest woman in Victoria, or she's much faster than us anyway.
Truth.
Yeah. Running guru Jenna Hempler recently finished 30 full marathons in 30 days. My legs are tired just saying that. All in support of the Victoria Hospitals Foundation. Super amazing.
Oh, we're going to chat with Yenna next week and see if we can get her to sit down for longer than 5 minutes.
Maybe
I
we'll
doubt
all
it.
run at the for our episode. We'll just run it.
Oh, no, thanks.
No, it's too hard.
Don't Mind If We Do is brought to you by Vintage Chic Portrait, helping everyday women feel beautiful in their own skin.
Thanks for listening to Don't Mind If We Do. If you loved it, please share this episode with a friend and follow us and check us out on Facebook, and we'll follow you back. As long as you don't mind if we do.
You probably won't mind. You'll probably like it.